Hey guys, so I thought that this week I would do something a little different than our normal weekly vlog, because frankly, not like a whole lot happened this week, and the fun things that I did do, I didn't really film. So I thought I would do a fun little video about the books that I've read so far this year, what I'm currently reading, and then what I want to read. We're gonna start with what I've read so far this year. I have my handy little notebook. Okay, I'm gonna go roughly in order. We're gonna start with the books I've read this year, and I'm gonna try so hard to only like describe and like go in depth into the ones I really like my 5-star reads or like 4-star reads. So first we have On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and I believe I rated that 4 stars. And now I don't have all the ratings, but I'm gonna try and remember what I did. We'll see. Next we have A Man Called Oh my gosh, sorry. A whole thing fell from the tree and it scared me. We have A Man Called Ove. I will say Ove. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce his name, but I will say I didn't like this as much as I should have. Or okay, I'm gonna re-explain that. I normally am the type of person, I will read the book before I watch the movie, but in this case, I don't know why. For some reason, I watched the movie before I read the book, and for me, I like thought the movie was great, and then I think that like reading the book after, I knew everything that was gonna happen, and it was kind of, it felt more dragged out to me, I think. I don't know. And so I think if I had read the book first, I think I would have liked it a lot better. So yeah. Next we have Nettle Eater, which, okay, I'm gonna just, it's a short story, I'm gonna explain it briefly, but it's about this guy that quits his job and decides to move to the wilderness for a year and only eat nettles. And it's just like kind of how his like mind like changes, and kind of like he kind of just goes, I guess his experience living in the wild for a year only eating nettles. It's short, it's funny, it's interesting. Next we have And I Darken. Okay, I thought like the premise of this was cool, but I was not a huge fan of this one. I didn't really like the male like main character, and I really did not like the whole like dynamic relationship between like the main girl, her brother, and the main guy. And I felt like it was really dragged out. Like it did not need to be that long, and I was waiting for it to be over. But then it's the first of like a series, so I don't think I'll be finishing that series. Okay, next we have 2 poetry books, because I'm trying to get into poetry. One is Rapture, and the other is Hope is a Thing with Feathers. And I liked them, like they were good. I don't know if I truly know how to appreciate poetry quite yet, so maybe I'll have to like read some more. I don't know. Then we have London Seance Society. I liked it. I think I rated it like 3.5 stars maybe. Yes. It's about a girl whose sister goes missing, I think, and she's trying to figure out what happened. It's kind of like a murder mystery, or like a detective. Like she's trying to figure out what happened. And then we have Lessons in Chemistry. I think I rated this 4 stars. I know it's a movie. I haven't seen the movie. I liked it. I thought it was good. That's all I have to say. Okay, next we have Divine Rivals, and this was like my first fantasy book in a little bit, so it was like the perfect, quick, easy fantasy read, and I liked it. I still need to read the second book, but yes. Okay, next we have Mythos. Okay, obviously, like with the age that we are, right? Like I'm 21. We grew up. I grew up reading like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. I love Percy Jackson, and Mythos is like, it's these stories of all the Greek gods and goddesses and like each of their individual stories, and so it's like short story collection kind of. But I listened to this on audiobook and I absolutely loved the narrator for this. He was so funny, like just the delivery was great. Okay, then we have Keeper of Hidden Books. I will also say I love a good like World War II history book. It's always been like a fascination of mine, so I really like the Keeper of Hidden Books. Then we have Hamlet. I'm gonna be honest, I might need to go back and read it again. I don't remember a lot of what happened. It is pretty short. Then we have A Study in Drowning. This is also another fantasy. I think I rated this one like 3.25 stars, 3.5 maybe, something in there. It was good. It took a minute for me to get into, but it definitely took a turn towards the end that I didn't entirely expect. So that was good. That kept it interesting. Okay, next we have Practice Makes Perfect. And I believe I rated it 4, maybe 4.25, 4.5 stars. It is, actually, going off of this, it is the second book of a series. I don't know what the name of the series is. It's like a series of interconnected standalones. So the first book is called When in Rome, and I read it last year, and it's about this girl who's this like really famous singer, think like Taylor Swift level of this world, and then this guy from like a small town in Kentucky, I think, and he owns a pie shop, and then this book is his little sister's story, but it was great. Loved it. Then we have The Prison Healer. Oh my gosh, guys. If you have not read it, I don't know what you're doing. Go read it right now. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. It was set in a like maximum security prison. It's a fantasy. But it was so good. Like the entire book is takes place in this prison, and you would think that like that gets boring, but it doesn't. Like so much goes down. Highly recommend. The ending, great. I loved it. I'm not gonna explain what trope it is because that kind of gives it away, but I love this trope so much, so highly recommend. I still need to finish the series. There's 2 more. There's 3 books total, and I have 2 left. Okay, next we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I know for a fact that MK read this, and I'm pretty sure that Megan read this too, because we read it for our book club at Purdue, and I liked it. I thought it was a bit slow at first, like the pacing was like kind of slow and then like sped up a lot, and I'm not always the biggest fan of like love triangles, but I really like the main character. I thought it was a good story. Next we have The Archer. Now this is a short story. I don't remember a whole lot about it. Like I remember the general gist, but I remember it being good and I liked it. Okay, and then we have Bride. Okay, it's by Ali Hazelwood, I'm pretty sure, and she's known for like STEM romance rom-coms, I believe. But this is her first like fantasy romance vibe book, and honestly, it was like such a vibe. I feel like I saw a lot of reviews saying like, go in for like vibes and like having a good time, and not necessarily like, you know, like it's not like a serious book. And I kind of need, when I was reading that, I think it was like during, like right before finals, and so I needed that. Like that was like such a good time for me to read it, so I had fun. Next we have The Mysterious Affair at Styles. I know MK is going to be excited about that because she loves Agatha Christie, and specifically Hercule Poirot, which is like the detective of like this book. And I think I've mentioned it before in one of my vlogs, but it took me a while to get into because I thought it was going to be from the perspective of Hercule Poirot. Oh, also my mom loves Agatha Christie and Hercule Poirot, so the two of them have been like wanting me to read them. But it took me a while because it's actually told from the perspective of Hercule Poirot's friend. But once I got past that, it was good. So now that I know what I'm like getting into, I think I'll like the future ones of his more. Okay, now we're getting to my 5-star reads. Okay, so the first one is And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. It is a short story. It is so good, guys. Like, will probably take you under an hour to read, I think. It is by Fredrik Backman. I love everything I've read by Fredrik Backman. Yeah, so this is kind of just a story of an older man who has dementia, I believe, and it's kind of just like the struggle of like remembering when you have like that kind of condition, and like trying to remember his life, especially with his like son and his grandson like visiting him in the hospital and stuff like that. It was so good. My mom recommended that to me. And then she also recommended my next 5-star read, which is also another short story by Fredrik Backman. And literally it was so good that the second I finished it, I started it again and read it again. Well, I was listening to it at work, but I like listened to the audiobook literally twice in a row. But it's called The Deal of a Lifetime. And I'm not even gonna like say anything about it because I think you should just go into it without knowing anything, but it kind of takes place in like the holiday time, so maybe read it in like November, December, something like that. Not that you have to. Next we have The Book Thief. Like I said, I love like historical fiction, historical like stories, and I did not have to read this for school like I know a lot of people did, but I loved it. Like, it's told from the perspective of death, which I find so interesting. Like, I thought that was such a cool perspective for this book. Next we have The House in the Cerulean Sea. It is by TJ Klune, and so is my another 5-star read called Under the Whispering Door. Both of them so good. Yeah, highly recommend. They're very like wholesome, like feel good books even when like bad things are happening. So I think I've definitely talked about them before. And then, okay, last but not least, for books I've read this year, we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. She's like one of my top authors because she writes, I guess, romances, but I feel like it's more also like women's fiction because it's not just like, oh, goodness, sorry guys, a bee, I think. Goodness, okay. It's not just romance, like there's a lot of underlying themes that I relate to. So Happy Place is specifically about a group of friends who all like went to college together, lived together in college, and it's like I think 10 years later maybe, and they always do this yearly like summer trip, and this is the last year that they're doing that for certain reasons. But basically I like related to it so much because I feel like being about to start my senior year of college, we're in such a transitionary time, and you know, who knows where like I'm gonna end up and where all my friends are gonna end up, and like we're probably never gonna like live together or like in the same area again, like all of us. And so it's like the story is about how friendships change over time and kind of having to like get used to that and adjust to that, especially when you go from like seeing each other every day and like living together to like seeing each other once a year and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna really quickly go through books I'm currently reading, which is The Poppy War. I'm loving it. I'm like 100 pages left. It's so good. I've heard nothing but great things. And we have The Midnight Library. I also recommend you go into this knowing nothing. I think it's so good. I think I'm about halfway through. Then I got a collected works of Jane Austen, like giant book, and so I'm working my way through that. I've only read I think one of them like before I got it, so I'm reading Sense and Sensibility now, but I'm only like 2 chapters in. And then also I have Tales from 1001 Nights, also known as the Arabian Nights. So it's like a collection of short stories, and I'm gonna work through that more slowly. I was thinking like like one of the stories, like here and there, kind of. Guys, side note, I'm like paranoid that there are ants on me because there was one crawling on me earlier, and I am terrified of ants. Also, I'm gonna introduce you to Carl. Well, not introduce, I'm gonna tell you about Carl. Carl is the spider that is in my bathroom, in my shower actually. He's up high. I am too scared to do anything. I'm not going near him. So far it's been a couple weeks. He hasn't done anything. He's just chilling in his little web. So I think we've learned to coexist as long as he doesn't come at me. I think we're good. So yeah, that was a very long video of me kind of just rambling about books. This was fun. Hopefully you guys like it. Have a good day. Bye.